Hello everyone, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to my live stream today on YouTube. Today is Saturday, the 16th of August 2025, and it is just past 4 o'clock in the afternoon UK time. And so I'm going to be here for maybe 1 or 2 hours, depending on whether it's busy or not. For those who don't know me and watch it on replay or catch me randomly, I'm a therapist and coach, and I come here during my free time to talk about anything you like to talk about related to the mind. So, psychology, human behavior, relationships, mindset, mindfulness, therapy, mental health, anything to do with how we can enhance the quality of our life from those places. So before I get started, I'm going to put the fan on because it's a bit warm still. Today in London. Okay. All right. So what I normally do, I start to read and comment on some of my posts that I put on TikTok and YouTube. Just so you know, I am both on TikTok and YouTube. I post 3 short videos every day. There's a slight delay between TikTok and YouTube. So to offer some diversity for those who are following me on both platforms, and I go live on both, such as today. So, again, I'm a bit slow to start today because my mind has been caught into something, but I will get there as I get going. I'm going to read posts that are written and comment on them, and hopefully by the end of them there will be some of you around wanting to ask me some things about yourself, and if not, it's also okay. It means that I can resume my day with other things and I come back some other time. Okay, the first post that I'm going to read goes like this. An emotion is a signal. If you suffer from anxiety, sadness or anger, don't try to fix the signal. Locate and address the origin of the signal. So this is about emotional intelligence, and it's realizing that emotions are an energy that are vital to our human experience. We want to feel them, we want to understand them, we want to process them, because there's a reason they exist. And so we don't want to kind of stigmatize them as we have been doing for a long time in society. Emotions are never broken. An emotion is an energy. An energy is never broken. It's about why you have that energy for and how you're going to use it for which mean. And so that was the first post. The second one goes like this. Habits are your subconscious program. So this is very simple and short. Essentially, our routine, our habits are no more or less than what we call our subconscious program. This can be quite confusing to some of us, but it is really just that. We have programs that we create all throughout our life, but especially in childhood, so that we can function in life. If you don't have a program, we are constantly asserting, assessing, measuring what is happening around, and we can't get moving, we can't get started. And so our habits are cognitive, emotional, and also behavioral, which means that if we want to change any aspect of our life, all that we have to do is to upgrade our habits of thought, our habits of emotions and feelings, and our habits of actions and reactions. The next post was quite unsurprisingly successful on TikTok. Yesterday, it created a lot of reactions, and it goes like this. The man who would never say, not all men, understand that this is not about them. This is about the men who say, not all men. And so, typically, if you create a post, if you share information that's going to be controversial, people will react to it, and that will be quite a successful one. And this was the case. Typically, a lot of men reacted to that and went, this is not true. And what I'm trying to say here is that it's not so much about the message than our own reactions to it. So if a man was to say, not all men, because someone is explaining how we live in a society that is dangerous and predatory, not sure what the word is, to women, then we can have two mindsets. We can either realize this or want to learn about it, or we can react, protect, defend, explain. And that's the not all men gangs. That's what I was trying to say. If you react to something emotionally, there is a part of your ego that is trying to protect you, or protect some aspects of you, or protect some aspects of the people that you know, like maybe your parents, your friends, your brothers. And so now, it is not about the conversation, it's about mindset. Why do you react? Why do you have to protect? Why do you have to defend? When you could be engaging in a conversation and asking, what are you talking about? I want to learn. I want to find out about you. I want to help make this society a better place for all. So, there you go. Next post goes like this. Attention doesn't mean affection. And this is also another very simple post, but a lot of us, we don't realize that we may be obsessed with seeking attention and needing to be seen, because there's a part of us that still believes that we're not seen, we're not heard, we're not accepted, we don't exist, we're invisible. And as long as we believe that, we won't feel safe and integrated in a society, a tribe, a community that supports us. And so we have some basic needs, all of us, that must be met, especially in childhood, but also throughout our life anyway, as adults. We must basically feel safe, we must be seen and heard, we must be accepted, and we must feel supported. And so for a lot of us, if we didn't have unconditional love and support in childhood by our caregivers, we may develop our unmet needs into an obsession with seeking attention. And so it doesn't mean that we are weak or bad or inferior. It only means that we have created a response out of our trauma, and we just forgot about it and we operate like that. But my point here is to really highlight the awareness that having attention from others will not give us what we seek, because it's just noise. And so we can work on ourselves and find out more about how we can upgrade some of our belief system and connect with some individual at a deeper level, as opposed to trying to get raw attention from anyone at all. Next post goes like this. Life is only short when you compare it with the life that you believe you should have. So this is based on a say that a lot of people claim all the time. Life is short. And it's not true. Life is not short. Life is not long either. Life is just life. What do we compare it with? If we don't compare it with anything, it cannot be long or short. It's just life. Life is literally made of time. And so how can we compare something that is made of time as in long or short? We do this when we compare it with someone else's life, the life that we want to have, that we project, that we believe we should have, instead of enjoying the moment and realizing that right around now is our life. That's it. We don't need to fantasize and feel bad for a life that we haven't got. Now, visualization is a good thing if you feel good about it. But if you feel that life is short, it means that you're spending more time thinking about the life that you should have, instead of creating it. Finally, the last post that I'm going to read, if I read maybe some comment, goes like this. Don't teach your children what to think and what to believe. Teach them how to think and how to continuously challenge and upgrade their own belief. Unless you want them to live your life, not theirs. And so this is for anyone who's a parent. They need to realize that we all project, and for the vast majority of us, not everyone, but many of us, if we are parents, we tend to want to protect our children, so we can teach them what we think and what we believe in a bit to give them some better sense of value and morals and perspective of life. But in reality, teaching them how to think and how to upgrade their belief, which is another word for critical thinking, is the best tools that we can ever teach anyone if we care about them. Because we come into this life to experience our life. We're not here to live the life of our parents or the life of whatever community feel we should be living because it fits the structure of the society. So, there you go. Let me see if there's any comments, any questions. The Gorilla Crew said hi. Hello. Dimitru, hello. Damaged Healer, hey man, how are you? I'm very well indeed. How about you? Big Man, hi. Hello, Big Man. Josiah Lawrence, in hetero relationship, how do you see equality? My friend lets his wife do heavy lifting because we do 50-50 in every possible way. You want to do things because it depends. It depends on the energy that drives that system. So when we do 50-50, it does, for me, heavy lifting, it's a bit silly because we all have different strengths and qualities. And so it's true that some women are strong and some women and some men are not as strong as other men and women. But generally speaking, when it comes to heavy lifting, that should be mostly done by the person who has the ability to lift them without breaking their back. So that should be more something that men do. When we say 50-50 in the society, it's more about looking after the house, the children, and providing for it. So that's the sort of balance that we're talking about. It's about both helping tidying up the house and looking after kids, and both bringing some money back into the household. That's what 50-50 means. If they want to just do 50-50 for the sake of 50-50 because they're obsessed with precision, then that can be not necessarily a good idea. They're doing it for the wrong reason. They're doing it to prove a point. They're doing it because they have some sort of fixations of numbers, on percentage, and this is not how you do this. We all have different strengths and expertise of areas of expertise, and so it's not about doing 50-50 in every single thing. It's about knowing how we're going to contribute both financially and at home with our own skills and talents to make sure that the couple or the family unit functions as a team optimally and in a fair way, in a right way, in a modern way. What do you think about this, Josiah? Does it answer your question? Big Man, hi again. Hello again. Josiah, she got a spinal disc hernia from heavy lifting, but they maintain that ID is that healthy. So so this is exactly what I was illustrating just before. It's silly. It's absolutely, so some people do things for the sake of it. So it depends on the sort of brain that you have. But some people need to be super precise. So let's say people who are on the autism spectrum, for instance, it's got to be these are people who have maybe some high level of anxiety, stress, some unhealed trauma. Then they may fixate on precision, numbers, just for the sake of that, because for them, at the subconscious level, it gives them a sense of control of a life, of the things. And this is not how we want to operate in our life. Right? So equality, equity, all of those things are a great thing to incorporate in a relationship, but this is not how we do this. Josiah, why do you think that hardship doesn't create resilience? Oh, it's an old conversation that I had, but I'm happy to talk about it again. We believe, this is a very good question actually. We live in a society that is very harsh. And we have been conditioned to believe that everything that has value comes at the cost of hardship. Life is hard. If you want to be successful, you want to work hard. Relationships are hard. Everything is hard. And maybe it comes from a place of goodness, as in if you're prepared, if you don't have too much expectations and you focus on the creativity, on the creation of things, there are more chances for them to happen. But in the end, what people forget is that whenever we think about something, the body creates an emotion to support that thought. And so if you think life is hard, you can feel hard. Relationships are hard, it's hard. I don't know how to do this. You must work hard. Now my life is going to be a life of labor and grind and rat race. And the truth of the matter is that nothing needs to be hard. Sometimes things are hard if we compare it with other things, but essentially things are only hard if we compare it with something else. So I'm going to give you an analogy. If there's a heavy rock to lift, and I need to lift it for whatever reason, I can either lift it, I'm able to lift it, or it's too heavy and I cannot lift it. But lifting a rock is not hard until I think about it. If I try to lift it and it's too heavy, and I think about it, now it's hard. This was not necessary. If it's heavy and I can't lift it, what do? I use my intelligence and I get some help. Or I get a machine. I found a solution to help me fulfill that task without having to think about hard. Hard is totally unnecessary. But again, because of religion, because the way society is structured, capitalist, pushing people at the bottom to work hard for them, to do the things that they don't want to do, then everyone is really, really conditioned to believe that hardship is good. You see some people who, like every other day, I see some literature, some newspapers about stories praising people to have had a success because they deserve it, because they worked so hard for it. And again, it's not about working hard. Let's say if you are working on your business or your career, if you are an athlete or anything at all, what will create success for you is not the hardship, it's the consistency. That's it. Whatever that you do, if you keep doing it for long enough and you love what you do, so you have a positive energy and a clear mind about it, as opposed to stress, then by virtue of repetition, you will inevitably become better and better and better at it. And subsequently, you will start to attract success because you'll be the best in your field, out of the fact that you love and you are so obsessed with what you do, but you have elevated that skill to the utmost. And there was nothing hard about it. It doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes some people correlate hardship with success because it was there, but it is not the reason as to why people succeed. It is because of the consistency, the focus, the drive, the excitement, the joy that they have when they are expanding their mind in regards to that thing. And so hardship is a lie. There's no need for hardship. And resilience is born from hardship. Resilience is implying that the harder the task, the harder your life, the harder your past, the more resilient you are. And it's not like that. The way that I see it, resilience is not a skill that you develop. Resilience is an innate ability. We're all born resilient. And so when we go through hardship and through adversity, we're revealing the resilience that we're already made of. We don't get more resilience for going through those things. We were already like that, and it was us needing to essentially experience that experience of hardship that would show us and the world what we are made of. So my point when I talk about resilience not having anything to do with hardship is to stop romanticizing hardship. Like Friedrich Nietzsche used to do it very famously. Whatever doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And this is wrong. A lot of people think that. It doesn't kill me, it makes me stronger. And we don't realize that it's absolutely wrong. And I can give you so many examples. Trauma doesn't kill someone. It doesn't make anyone stronger. Depression, anxiety, addiction, none of those things necessarily kill anyone. I mean, for the vast majority of us, it doesn't. But none of those things make any one of us stronger either. And the list goes on. And so we want to stop idolizing, putting hardship on a pedestal, believing that there's something good about it. Because as long as we do it, we're going to basically inflict ourselves with hardship out of choice because we believe that this is the formula of success, healing, happiness, resilience, or whatever else that we may want to develop. And so, yeah, that's the whole logic behind it, Josiah. Does it make sense to you? Everything that I do is about really teaching people how to change the way they think and the way they feel, and subsequently, hopefully, change the society. And the most important aspect of it is about empathy, compassion, kindness. And by this, I mean compassion to self and others, kindness to self and others, empathy to others so that we can recognize ourselves in them and realize that there's no division, we're all the same, and we can learn how to no longer react to one another and continuing fighting when there's no need for that, if we can understand why we behave the way we do. And so, again, hardship creates tension, creates stress. It reinforces the division between us and the others, between me, my ego, and the rest of the world, and how I should protect myself against the rest of the world. And there's nothing to protect ourselves against. Bear some exceptions, of course, but it's about realizing that whatever system we have is going to create the reality that we have. And so we can operate from a place of love, as in self-love, a place of connection, a place of empowerment, inspiration, a place of curiosity, a place of empathy, a place of open-mindedness and open-heartedness, or a place of hardship. It's me versus the world. It's hard because there's a division, a separation between me and the world, me and the others, me and happiness, and so forth and so on. Yeah. Thank you for the little heart. I saw them. That's it. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Again, guys, if you have any question, if anyone is watching in the background, please do ask me anything. This is how I function. I need some questions to get my brain going. So I'm happy to talk about anything at all. My specialisms are depression, anxiety, addiction, self-sabotage, anger issues, and anything to do with stress and trauma. But I can talk about relationship, I can talk about low self-esteem, I can talk about anything at all that is related to what we think and how we feel and how we behave. And our perspective of life and us and people. And life becomes easier, better, and kinder for all. Our society is mainly structured on some religious dogmas. And again, this is why hardship is so prominent in it. And so is shame, guilt, blame, division, judgment, scapegoating. But something that I've been talking about quite a lot lately, and I'm starting to see other creators, other coaches online talking about it. And it's the fact that the reason there is religion, the reason people think the way they do, the reason some people are obsessed with understanding things and proving right to someone else, is because we all need the illusion of control and understanding. And so we need to understand that our system is the system that explains the world. And this is why the world suffers. Because people have forgotten, or maybe they don't know, but there's no such thing as one universal truth and reality. There's only our version of it, our interpretation of it, our experience of it. And everyone has got a different world. Everyone lives literally in a different bubble and experiences a different reality to anyone else. And we react to people who are not aligning with our belief, with how we feel, with how we believe people should behave like. Because now we're losing control. It doesn't make sense. This is my system, everyone should have the same system. And so if you can realize that everyone is in their bubble, and it's okay. Anyone can believe what we want. As long as we can function together, we don't have to force the truth and make it universal, because there's no such thing as universally subjective truth. There is contextually subjective truth. And so what I mean by that, and it's quite a difficult concept to accept for many of us, but let's say gravity. Someone will say this is an objective truth. I think I mixed up subjective with objective, just in case you replay this. So if someone says to me, gravity is objective, it's universally objective, I can observe it. I'd say, it is a scientific truth. It is not a universal truth. Because if someone, for whatever reason, believes that gravity is a hoax, that person, in their mind, in their reality, that would be their truth. And so now, the truth is no longer universal. It only takes one person to not share it with anyone else, with everyone else, for it not to be universal anymore. So that's what I'm trying to say. Truth is down to how people perceive reality, what we think, how we feel, what we believe is true. So there you go. There was another example. Someone said to me, if you don't believe that there's such thing as objective or subjective truth, what happens in the courtroom? How do they deal with cases? And again, there's no such thing as an objective, a universally objective truth. In that case, there is a courtroom context, subjective truth. Everything is contextual. Anyway. I hope anything that I said made sense. Wiggers. Hello, Wiggers. I considered advice you gave me a couple of weeks ago, and it helped me a lot. I appreciate you. I like your shorts too. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Shorts, my short videos. I thought you meant my shorts. I was like, we can't see my shorts here. I get it. Is it you who told me about becoming a good parent or a bad parent? Because there's something very important that I forgot to mention about the conversation then. But I will only talk about it if that's you, because otherwise it's a bit irrelevant. Someone last week asked me about how to deal with the fact that they believed that they were not a good father or a good parent, and they felt terrible about it. And basically they find it difficult to focus, to look after the kids without getting angry or annoyed or frustrated. If that's you, please let me know, and I'm happy to add a very important piece of information about that conversation. But thank you nevertheless for the feedback, Wiggers. That's very cool. I'm very happy with this. Jaboblo. Would you recommend Jabon or Ejachest? Love from Tung Tung Sahur. I don't know. I haven't got a clue what is Jabon, Ejachest, Tung Tung Sahur. I can try to Google it, and hopefully you're not trying to troll me. Take advantage of my naivety, of my candidness. Okay, let me see. Jabon. Jabon, there's nothing that comes out. Assessed. Nothing either. I haven't a clue what you're talking about. Jaboblo. Wiggers, who are they? That wasn't me. Okay, no worries. No worries. In that case, there's no need for me to go into that conversation. Or maybe I can, because I don't have any question yet at this point in time, and it's in my mind. So maybe I can find a different way to explain this. Someone was asking me last week how to deal with the fact that he believed that he was not a good parent, and it was very hard for him to live with that thought, because he always gets triggered by his kids. And he would have no patience for them. The noise will make him go berserk. And I realized that there's something very important that I forgot to mention, is that some of us have different brains, as in our brain functions differently. And so if you have ADHD, for instance, or if you had trauma, and we haven't dealt with that trauma, and if the trauma especially happened during our childhood, so if you have CPTSD, our brain will be hypersensitive, and we capture a lot of things all at the same time. And very often we will get overwhelmed by this. So I, for instance, I have ADHD and CPTSD. And there's one thing that makes me really angry, and I've been working on it for a long time, but it's when I'm thinking about something and there's some noise that takes my thought away. And so now I'm done with that, and I know how to recognize the trigger and how to disarm it as soon as it happens. But in the past, I would get angry. And this is to do with our brain. We want to focus on something, but because we have that hypersensitivity, we're constantly on alert, scanning our surrounding with all of our senses to make sure that we're safe. Then that takes our attention away from what we're doing. And that can be extremely irritating for us. So again, it's typically something that many people with ADHD experience, but also people with CPTSD. And I, when I do my stuff, when I'm home with my husband, sometimes he's just around, I'm trying to focus on something that I'm reading or writing, and he's just next to me and he just breathes, and just that, oh, and me, and I know it's terrible. And then I realize, and I tell him, I'm so sorry, I was upset at you because you're breathing, because of you being alive and needing oxygen to stay alive. But this is exactly the state of things. And there are many instances where I used to think, when I was just realizing that I have those issues and working on them, I used to be so reactive. And it's something that I had all of my life, and it can be extremely destructive to how we feel about ourselves, but also with our relationships. And so maybe that person who believed that he was not a great dad had some issues that get him to react, and it's not his fault. It's absolutely not his fault. But understanding this will help him create some strategies so that he doesn't get triggered by little things that are happening all the time, that we can't do about. The more we react to our environment, the more we reinforce our reactions to those triggers, and things get worse and worse over time. So there you go. We goes, I am interested. Okay, thank you. And I saw some little hearts as well, so thank you. So yeah. I hope some of you found this interesting. Very often we blame ourselves for not being such or such, and we forget that we all have a different brain. And many of us, again, if you have some conditions or some unhealed emotional wounds, if we have been through a lot of hardships in childhood, that will get our brain not to function the same way as people who didn't have the hardship that we had then. And so, again, some of us are hypersensitive. And it's not that we are easily triggered, as in we are weak, we are silly, we are stupid. We get triggered, we get offended, because it is a trauma response. Our brain is constantly seeking for emotional safety. And so we want to be kind to people like that. Instead of telling them, you're such an idiot, stop being so offended at anything. People who are telling others not to be offended don't understand emotional intelligence. And it's no more or less than the modern equivalent of when people used to say, boys don't cry, good girls don't make noise, or don't get angry, things like that. It's repressing people's nature and emotional expression that creates an emotional shutdown that will develop into so many mental and emotional problems in adulthood. It's gaslighting, essentially. And so when people get offended, we want to understand that there's a reason people get offended. It's a reaction that is them telling people, this is my boundaries, you crossed it. They're expressing themselves. But you don't want to shut them. Now, of course, some people are extreme in the way they express themselves, and this is for them to address their own conditions and work on it. They want to be kind and understanding and compassionate, and realize that no one chooses to be offended, no one chooses to be triggered, no one chooses to come across the way they do, cognitively, deliberately. Those are all emotional impulses that are born from the program that we have created in childhood because of whatever happened to us then. And it was never our choice. So yeah. Let me have some coffee. Anything else anyone would like to talk about? Here's one. 10 perfection. How do I hypnotize myself to change my self-image? Self-hypnosis is a process. So I do teach that, and it's possible, but it's a long process. I can't explain it here, and I would need to be with someone face to face to explain how it works. But I can explain some tips, but are not self-hypnosis per se, as in the actual system, but just an understanding of how self-hypnosis works. In fact, we forget that we are actually self-hypnotizing all the time. And so maybe that could help you. I want you to realize that you always have a narrative in your mind. So for some of us, it's a voice. For some of us, it's not. But there's a narrative, something that gets us to feel in certain ways. And that narrative is our self-hypnosis. So an example of this is that some of us may feel that they have low self-esteem. They want to do something. And then the voice in the head, the narrative is going to tell them, don't do this. Don't make a fool out of yourself. It's not for you. It doesn't work. Every time you try, you get rejected. You've been laughed at. This is literally your inner voice hypnotizing yourself. If you allow for that voice to happen in your mind, yes, it's true, I don't want to do this because this is not available to me. I'm not worthy of that thing. I'm going to hypnotize myself into believing this, and I will feel it in my body. And now my body is going to protect me from trying to do that thing. And so I want to try this, but I will feel something, and then my mind is going to create more narrative to back up that emotion that I've created. But it's essentially keeping me away from getting too close to that thing because I believe that the thing is not available to me. And so this is how we hypnotize ourselves all the time. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I can't be successful. I never get what I want. I am invisible. No one cares about me. And so if you want to self-hypnotize yourself and change, what did you say? Your self-image. You want to change the dialogue, the internal dialogue that you have. You want to locate it and replace all the negative with positive. So what you want to self-hypnotize yourself into, maybe I am confident, I am safe, I deserve all the best things in life. Tell yourself those things. And of course, it's not going to happen like that because your beliefs are installed at a deep subconscious level, and the cognitive aspect of it is only the tip of the iceberg. It's like a tree. You have the top of the tree, but you have all the roots at the bottom, and those are emotional and subconscious. And so this is how you will need to learn about hypnosis and self-hypnosis to do it properly. But the general idea is that if you can at least realize that the narrative that you have is consistently hypnotizing your body, yourself, into a certain state, then you can change those narrative as a start. You may not change all of it. It may not work all 100% straight away, but there are some things that you can change. So find out what are the beliefs, the negative self-talk that you have about yourself, that you are self-hypnotizing yourself with, and replace it with the alternative, the positive version of it. So I don't know if you can give me an example of what about your self-image you want to change, and what sort of narrative you have about it. We can address this together, like right now. But let's say if you believe I am not enough, I don't look good enough, I'm not clever enough, I'm not lovable enough, I'm not talented enough, then find a way to tell yourself the opposite. Realize that that voice that is constantly hypnotizing you into disempowerment is not even your voice. It is the echo of all the voices from the past that have put you down, and they're still lingering in the back of your mind. And so instead tell yourself, I deserve some things. I may not deserve everything, but something. Do it gradually. Do it in a way that is comfortable, that aligns with how you feel about yourself. You can't change a thought from I'm a pile of shit to I'm amazing, just like that. It's got to be in line to how you feel. Otherwise, your mind will reject it. This is how people get very angry at positive thinking, because positive thinking, without the positive feeling, becomes toxic positivity. The alignment between what you think and how you feel is fundamental, is very important, is paramount. And so find a way to upgrade the way you think about yourself and the way you talk to yourself that aligns with how you feel. So think about an emotional ladder and just go one notch up and do it again and again until you are able to move up to the next one. You may jump 3 steps eventually as you get better at doing this, and then you may be at some point able to change your whole inner dialogue and feel better about it, because every time you think something, your body reflects that thought with an emotion or feeling or sensation. And so choosing your thoughts, choosing the way you speak to yourself will absolutely determine how you feel about yourself. And reversely, how you feel also affects what you think, as in how you think. So when you feel better about yourself, it's easier for you to have more empowering thoughts. And now we are going into a positive cycle and lifting everything up. I hope it makes sense. Does it? Hisan, true. Cloud9 whiskey. Great to catch your live. Have you ever made pine soda? Put clean pine needles into a jar with 3 or 4 tablespoons of sugar. Fill with water and rest for 3 days to ferment. Pour, open, and enjoy. I haven't got a clue what you just talked about, but thank you for the tip for anyone who found this useful. I don't drink any soda. I drink water, I drink tea, I drink coffee, and that's pretty much it. And I'm not sure, but you know what, if you enjoy that recipe of yours, and if anyone finds it useful, thank you for this anyway. And thank you for enjoying the live in whichever way. Wiggers. Is self-hypnosis related to mindfulness? So there are 2 different words. I'm not sure what is the relationship about those words in your mind, but self-hypnosis, mindfulness is the state of being present. You are focused on being mindful. Being mindful is to focus on one thing. So the one thing that we focus more often than not when it comes to mindfulness is this moment, the present moment, as opposed to the past or the future. But mindfulness can also be focused on something, a task that we are doing in this moment. So there's always the element of now, but we can focus on the thing we are doing. We can focus on a visual. We can focus on a sound. We can focus on a feeling. We can focus on all sorts of different things. Being mindful is to focus on something, so much so that everything else disappears. So mindfulness is not emptiness of thought, it's focus. And self-hypnosis is upgrading our subconscious program. We'll have a subconscious emotional program that basically run every single actions that we have all throughout our days, all over life. And if we don't upgrade the program, we have a life that is predetermined. We always think the same thing at the same time. We always do the same things in the same way, at the same place, at the same time, with the same people. We always react to some situation the same way we react to the situations. We always, the program that we have is based on how we perceive the world, who we believe we are in this world, and what we should be doing at what time. And so it's an emotional program. So all throughout the day, different time of the day, we need to feel different things. So let's say, for instance, I'm waking up in the morning, and then I'm going to have a coffee. That'll be because we are used to that. The program gets us to feel that we need something, and the thought is going to be, what do I need? I need a coffee. Now we need to make the coffee, and everything else, from those sort of things to how we interact with people all throughout the day, it's all down to our program. And so if we don't upgrade our program, we have no free will. we're literally fulfilling a destiny that is written to us, that is coded inside of our brain, and that we repeat every morning as soon as we wake up. As soon as we wake up, for one split second, our mind is going to go, who am I? What do I like? What do I dislike? What do I want in this life? What do I believe is not available to me? And suddenly, bang, whoop, like in the Matrix, all of this information will come in, and now we have self-hypnotized ourselves to reminding us that this is who I believe I am. This is me, my ego, me as a human being, me as a self, and this is what my dreams are about, my limitations. And now we get started with the day following the program. And so self-hypnosis is about challenging that program. It's about upgrading some aspect of us so that we can actually create a better reality for ourselves. Because everything about our reality is down to the program. I hope it makes sense. I can elaborate on this if you wish. Just ask me. Maybe an angle from which you would like me to address that conversation from. But yes, self-hypnosis is different to mindfulness. They belong to the same sort of field because it's about the mind, it's about self-improvement and self-awareness, but different. I hope it makes sense. Wiggles, does it? Mario Bravo. If we don't react, defense mechanism that change the view of the person who suffer this reaction, the way of self-healing, or is not a good way to do, and you need therapy in first place, question mark. So let me try to understand this. It feels a little bit, oops, just bear with me, please. My watch is reminding me that it's time for me to put a post out on TikTok, so just bear with me,
Here's
please.
what I found.
Just one sec, please. Okay. Thank you. This is how I operate, otherwise I forget. ADHD. Reminder, take action straight away, and then bang, out of it. Okay, so where was I? With Mario Bravo. If we don't react, defense mechanism, that change the view of the person who suffers this reaction, the way of self-healing, or is not a good way to do, and you need therapy in the first place. It's very convoluted. I don't understand your question, Mario. I'm so sorry. I want to. Could you find a way to explain in a way that is simple, concise? Just ask me a question. Tell me a problem, and I can address this. Just based on what you say, I'm going to try to say something. But basically, when we react to things, we react because of a program. And so we can never choose anything else than the reaction that we have in the moment. In the moment, it's too late. In the moment, we can never choose. Again, no free will, automatic program. And so, what we can do is to work on it before or after the reaction. Once we recognize the patterns of reactions, we know what triggers them. And that's how we work on ourselves. And it can be through therapy, it can be through self-development, through meditation, through just reflection of ourselves. There are many ways to do this, we're all different. But the most important thing is to realize that when things happen to us in the moment, when we react, we have no input, we have no control, we have no say about the reactions. It's a reaction, it's emotional, it's subconscious, it's literally a program. A lot of people say, control your reactions, choose response instead of reactions. And people who say that, they don't understand the emotional mind. They don't understand the subconscious mind. They believe that we have a choice. In that moment, if we react, it's because we don't have the choice. It is the reaction. The choice that we have is to process that, let it go, and then understand afterwards, why did I react like that? What can I do about this? And then upgrade the program so that the next time we're facing the same situation, we have more, a broader choices of reactions, as opposed to just one. And that's how we expand our choices of response over time in regards to the patterns of reactions that we have. So I'm not sure if that's what you meant, Mario, but I hope that it made sense and was useful to any one of you. But Mario, do ask me again. I'd like to have a conversation with you, but I need you to be more clear, please. Nikki Jones, hello. Isan Perfection, Psycho-Cybernetics. Oh, from Peter Maxwell, I think. Yeah, I read it a long time ago. It's a great book. I forgot about it. A lot of books were very important because they were written a long time ago, but many others have added their pinch of wisdom to it. And so there's some stuff that I can't remember anything. There's a lot of books like Joseph Murphy, all of those things that are classics of the mind, but I think they're important when we start to delve into the subconscious mind. But once you've done it for a long time, it becomes your kind of common sense about the subconscious mind mechanisms. So yes, no, I would recommend that book to anyone who is new to understanding the mind. Indeed, it was interesting to me when I first read it. I don't know, a long time ago. But I can't remember anything specific about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Some books, they have something, some aha moments that were very, very important in my own development. But Psycho-Cybernetic, I can't remember about anything at this point in time. Maybe I can read it again and I'll get back to you about it. But I do know that it's a good book. It's a book that is classically recommended to people who want to understand about their subconscious mind. Indeed. Chris Smith, Didi, what up? Peace. How are you doing, Chris? Isan, fear. What about fear? Isan, what if I don't get it? What do you mean? What if I don't get what? What do you mean, Isan? And what would you like to know about fear? I can talk about fear in great length if you want. But I need to know what your question is, please. Harley Butler, can you please say hello to Tom from England? Okay, hello Tom from England. This live is from England as well, from London. Lee 888. I try to break my routine patterns and updating my mind. Okay, is there anything you'd like to know about it? Is there any questions you'd like to ask me about it? Good on you. Whatever routine patterns that you have, I want to realize that we are first dominated by our habits of emotions. Everything that happens first starts with an emotion, a feeling, a sensation, something in the body that is the program that I was talking about. And then, after that emotion, our brain is going to create a cognitive backup, a story, a narrative that supports that emotion. It goes in that order. A lot of people find it very difficult to accept because they're feeling that they're losing control of things. How dare you say that I'm emotional? We are intelligent, we can choose things, and it's not true, we don't choose anything. For the vast majority of time, 95% of the time, you don't choose things. There's no such thing as free will. The choice that you have is an illusion of choice that is determined by your emotional state and your belief system. So whatever that you choose will still be limited by your past experiences and how your body makes you feel about it. That's it. And so first we feel something based on the belief that we have in regards to the situation, and then the head is going to create a backup as a story. And then as we think that narrative, now we're going to create more feelings and emotions that will subsequently create more of the same thoughts and the same feelings and so on and so forth. Now it is possible to address things from our emotions, but also from our thoughts. It is possible. We're all different. It depends. I need to know maybe a little bit more about yourself. Wiggers, Didi, you're the man. All right, thank you, Wiggers, thank you. Felfelhar, is meditation the only way? The only way to what? Meditation is a big word that encompasses so many things. And so there are a lot of different types of meditations for a lot of different purposes, for a lot of different state of readiness. And so meditation is no more nor less than looking inward and working on our inner self. It's about addressing reality from the inside out as opposed to from the outside in. And we can upgrade many aspects of our life through meditation. But I'm not sure what you are referring to. Felt hard at this point in time. What do you mean on your way to what? If you could tell me that, that would be helpful. But some people meditate to relax themselves. Some people meditate to understand about the past and find out more about themselves. Some people meditate to connect with some people who are gone, or from people from other dimensions. Some people meditate to manifest a different reality for them. Some people meditate to heal the physical element in their body. But generally speaking, people meditate to reconnect with themselves. So it doesn't necessarily start with any spiritual things. It's more about relaxation. It's about letting go of the overthinking, learning how to focus, and learning how to find peace, and reconnect with our breath, and health, and hope, and all of those things. Thank you for the little hearts. Miriam Chu, hi from Spain. You are my favorite happy place on YouTube. Fantastic, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you associate me with happiness. Thank you. Hisan Perfection, you asked me a question about my self-image. Okay. Then I replied with fear, what if I don't get or achieve it? Okay. So, your self-image that you want to improve is your relationship with fear. You have fear, and you think often the sentence that goes like, what if I don't get it or achieve it? Okay, so basically it's you don't believe that you can. It's not fear of something, it's the fear of rejection. Okay, no, I get it, it's the fear of rejection, it is the fear of something. You're scared of being rejected. You're scared of not being enough to be loved and accepted and seen for your performance, for who you are. And so if you want to change this, there are many ways to address this. The best way to do this is to really address how you see yourself and change how you see yourself. Find out, why do I see myself the way that I see myself? And then realize that it was only a perspective that you had back then that was shared by your parents, by your bullies, by your caregivers, by anyone who made you believe those things about yourself. And then realize, that was their opinion, their perspective. It doesn't have to be mine anymore. And you can then remind yourself of the success that you had, and realize that you had a lot of success, a lot of achievements, and so I can do things if I want. I can create success. I can be loved. It's about looking in the right place and realizing that we can do this already. So play in your mind all those moments when you had success, when you have been seen, when you felt connected with someone, when you felt connected with success, when you felt that you belonged. And we all have this if we look in the right place. And if you can do this, then you can remind yourself, I know how to do this. If you had success one time in your life, you can have success all your life, because the formula is the same. It's about wanting to do that thing and focus on doing that thing without any worry about the outcomes. And eventually, at some point, you will become good enough to make that thing happen, whatever that it is. I hope it makes sense. This is one of the many ways how you reprogram your mind, by stopping thinking about, I can't do this, I can't make it, I'm not good enough, people will laugh at me, they will mock me, they will reject me again. Instead, think about the times when you had success. Maybe you remember, I learned how to ride a bicycle. Success. I remember I was happy sometime, one day, someone that I liked kissed me on my cheek. I had the first cigarette behind the school, or whatever. Little things can be all success. And I was happy because I realized the first time I saw a butterfly landing on my hand, or ladybird, or whatever it is, was a success. Little moments of happiness, little moments of awe, little moments of peace, and feeling whole. Was a success. Replay those things in your mind and realize, I enjoyed that moment and I made a success out of it because I was in it. I was not worried about what others may think of me, of what could happen or may happen. I don't care. I'm just focused on the thing. And that's what creates success. Mindfulness. Be mindful about the right thing. Focus on the feeling. Focus on the moment. As opposed to focusing on what are they thinking about me. What is going to happen if I fail? Now our mind is all over the place. And this is essentially one of the things that mindfulness does. It teaches us to focus on a positive thought, a happy feeling, a happy sensation, a happy moment in the past that we can reenact mentally now. And if we can do it now, we can feel it in our body again. We are back into a place of empowerment. We have access to power again because we can do this with anything else about our life, just like that. Now, of course, everything is a skill, so everything takes repetition, practice to be reinforced. But yes, if you have a fear of rejection or a fear of failure, one of the ways to address this, if you don't have access to therapy, but even if you have access to therapy, you want to learn how to essentially think differently about yourself. And eventually, you may be able to feel differently about yourself too. And that's when you will change. So yeah, does it help, Isan? Inspired insomnia. Oh, hello. Hey, Didi. What's your favorite lift? What are your numbers? Do you have any fitness influencers you like? It's a whole different conversation. I'm not going to delve into that. I can tell you briefly. I used to love squats. That was my one trick pony party stuff. I'm very good with my squats. And I used to compete. So I've got some. I've been number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the UK in my category in the sport of powerlifting. And so numbers, I'm not going to tell them because it's pointless. The only reason why people want to have some numbers is to compare themselves with them. All you need to know is that I competed at a national level. So that should be enough. And my favorite lift will always be just the big ones, simple. Squat, deadlift, bench press, military press, big rows, pull-ups, sort of things. That's it. Fitness influencers. I used to be a strength and conditioning coach for many years. So I have followed a lot of people who are at the top of their games. So it doesn't matter, because if I tell you their name, you may not understand necessarily what they're on about. Learning how to train is a science. And there's so much information. And even though I stopped that career 8 years ago, I'm still obsessed with it. I still watch stuff all the time, read up on those things, try different things in my own training all the time. Just like I do with my mind, I do with my body. And so it's a huge field of conversation. And I don't believe that there's someone that is better than others. It's just about you finding the person that can give you the right information for you at your point of development within your journey of fitness. I hope it makes sense. But also now I don't train for pure strength or competition anymore. I train for health, for mobility, for strength related to health, and for fun as well. I enjoy my training. So a lot of things have changed in my training. Miriam Chu, Heart, thank you. Namit, what therapist are you? I am an RTT therapist and a clinical hypnotherapist. So basically, I use tools of hypnosis to take people back into the memories of the past so that we can change the emotional trigger, the emotional blocks, the emotional subconscious mechanism that are creating all the problems in their life now as adults. And then, once I have addressed here, we address there. Whatever we think is the result of how we feel. And so it's like an MOT of the mind. We start with your emotional mind, which is your biggest and more important mind. 95% of your mind is emotional and subconscious. Only 5% is cognitive. But it is still important. So we first address here, open the door, and then I cram as many information as I can here to upgrade the way people think about themselves. The relationship with their emotions, the relationship with stress and adversity, and that's it. But my main tool to get started with is RTT. RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. It's a system created by Marisa Peer. And it's like hypnotherapy on steroids. It's very, very powerful. We change people's belief. We change the way the body responds to things. And we must realize that when someone suffers from problems like trauma, anxiety, or depression, if it's very, very problematic in their life, then it's an emotional problem. The problem doesn't live in the head, it lives here. And this is why talking therapy, more often than not, don't really fix things. They can help people understand the situations and make them feel better because someone is listening to them. But it's not, I don't think it has ever transformed anyone. Whereas any type of somatic healing, which is to do with how you feel, with your body, with moving, but also with your subconscious mind, and so hypnosis, hypnotherapy, like RTT, are what transform people. So there you go. If you want to know more about this, just ask me, and I'm more than happy to develop. Inspired insomnia. Wow, I love powerlifting. That's very interesting. Good for you. Lifting weight can be very therapeutic. It is indeed. Training, exercising, generally speaking, is therapeutic because when you move your body, you're literally producing some happy, healing, feel-good hormones to lift you up. So you will feel better straight away. But it's always going to lift your mood, your mental abilities, your level of stress. All those things are going to be absolutely positively impacted by your training and your physical activities. Now, more and more people are really, really saying this out loud. If there's one thing that we must all do is realizing the importance of training. Training, moving, exercising, doing things with your body is by far the number one thing above everything that will benefit the most any aspect of your life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, it's not the only thing. There are a lot of other things, but this is the one thing that too many people don't do, and just that could change so many things as far as our health and our potential are concerned. We girls, you are great, like a man, like a Mr. Miyagi therapist. Please don't say that. This is offensive. It's stereotypical, and I know that you don't mean this, but I find it offensive. Calling me Mr. Miyagi because I look Asian can be perceived as racist. So, I'm sure that you don't mean this, but be aware of avoiding stereotypes like that. Yeah. Please, don't. Inspired insomnia. I recently started a testosterone cycle. I have found it difficult to manage the side effects of the estrogen and my mental health. That's not appropriate for here, though. I wouldn't, unless you have a physical condition that requires you to take testosterone. If you do it only because you want to be bigger and stronger, I wouldn't go that way. I believe that there are a lot of different ways to address our problems, and I believe that we come whole and complete with the whole system within us. And if we know how to unlock the system, then things can happen. But if you take things from the outside in, this or that, that will probably create more problems than anything else. Why do you take testosterone for? Is it because you are you transitioning? So that's a whole different thing. If you're transitioning, then I wouldn't know much about it, but I know that it's something that you have to do. So if you are transitioning, as in if you're a trans person, then it's a whole different conversation. But if you take testosterone just because you want to be stronger, that wouldn't be something that I would recommend. Do you want to talk about it, inspired insomnia? Do you want to tell me more about the reasons as to why you take testosterone for, please? Felfelhar, do you think food affects our thoughts? Yes, they don't affect our thoughts. They affect how we think. And that affects how we feel. That affects how we react to the world. That affects how we're going to read the world and see ourselves. Why? Because the foods that we eat are going to create some sensations, some physical state. And so if I eat a lot of rubbish, a lot of processed food, a lot of high fructose, carbs, food, chemical stuff, my gut is going to be unhappy. It's going to have to always try to deal with those things. And if you have a state in your body, that state affects your reality. So this is something very fascinating, but most people don't realize. But the way we feel will not only affect how we think, but it will also literally affect our perception of reality itself. And so there's a guy that I've been following for a while, but I love his work. I'm reading one of his books at the moment. His name is Robert Sapolsky. And in his book called Behave, he shares a lot of data, a lot of researches to demonstrate how we feel affects how we interpret reality and our behavior, which is why it's called Behave. And so basically, one of the research is a bunch of people. We're going to ask them to assess the picture of someone that they don't know, and basically say, what do you think about that person? Do you think they're nice? Do you think that there's something wrong about them? And the first group, they will ask them to hold a cold drink in their hand whilst assessing the picture. And when they hold the cold drink, they will say, there's something of, that person seems dodgy. I don't like them. Oh, I don't know why. There's something about them. Now, second group, they get them to hold a warm drink in their hand. Everyone, I like that person. That person seems very warm. So just holding the cup will influence their judgment. Another very also fascinating research or data that he has collected was in a courtroom somewhere in America. I don't know if it's the first or the last Monday of every month. They hold a session for people who have been incarcerated. And it's about whether or not they're going to grant them a pardon. So they are inmates are trying to fight the case and try to speed up their freedom. And they found out that all the cases that were conducted, so they found out that when the judges had their breakfast, there be a certain percentage of pardons being granted. However, in the morning, when the judges, and if the judges didn't have breakfast, over, I don't know, years and years, not a single pardon has been granted. The difference, whether the judge had a breakfast or not, how they felt in their body, changed their behavior, their perceptions of things. And so food affects our thoughts in such ways. They don't affect, as in, because you eat something, it doesn't create a food, but it creates a mindset, it creates a filter that's going to change the experience of that situation that you're going through. And so if you're constantly eating rubbish, and you're constantly digesting, and you're constantly feeling bloated, if you're not feeling good in your body because your diet is not on point, then that will affect your perception of the world, and therefore some aspect of your thought. I hope it makes sense. But yes, food, so I was talking about training, but food is also, there are three main things: sleep, eat, move. Regardless of our goals, if you can really learn how to elevate those three things, there are more. But those are the basic, most fundamental. If we can sleep well, if we can eat well with gut microbiome in mind, and if we can move in healthy and joyful ways, then we are elevating all aspects of our physical, mental, and emotional health. Heaps. Now we want to add some stuff. There's also meditation. There's spending time in nature. There's socializing with people. There's being creative. There's enjoying ourselves. All of those things are also important. Being happy. But the basic ones that anyone can get started to learn more about, to enhance the quality of life, is sleep, eat, move. That will be a great start. So many people have problems and they don't do any of those. And just that will already change a lot about quality of life. And I'm talking about and emotional health as well. Namit, after learning about it, I want to try it too. Did we talk, was it about meditation or self-hypnosis? I know, you're talking about the therapy that I'm doing. Okay, okay, if you want to find out, if you have a problem and you want to find out whether we can work together or not, there's a link to my website on my bio. All you have to do is to click on it, read up about me, and you can send me an email, and we can organize a free discovery Zoom call to find out if we can work together or not. Okay? Thank you for the inquiry, nevertheless. Wiggers, would you ever use psychedelic drugs? I heard somewhere it was used. Some people do. I don't, because I used to be addicted to Class A drugs for so long that I have a terrible relationship with drugs. So I never take drugs unless there's no other choice. And so, yeah. And so I understand that it can be liberating. I may change my mind at some point if given the occasion and try it, because I know that there are some good people out there who believe in it and know how to use it. But I also understand that a lot of people do that just more for, no, with not enough information. There's some sort of fantasy about them being like a Native American Indian becoming a falcon or an eagle, like Jim Morrison in the Doors movie. So a lot of people do it for the wrong reason in the wrong ways, and so because of that, I'd be very, very cautious. However, I do know that some people, such as Gabor Mate, talk well about that, and so if you're in the right hand, it may be something for some people that can be good. But it's never something that I would recommend just like that, because it takes a lot for this to work for one individual, I believe. Wait, girls, sorry, no worries. I knew that you didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that. I'm very embarrassed. It's no problem. We all learn something every day. I used to say a lot of clumsy things myself, so I understand. It's no problem. But now we're on the same wavelength. I used to say a lot of jokes that were very inappropriate, very racist, very homophobic, transphobic, sexist, ableist, fatphobist. That was the jokes that I grew up with, the society that I grew up with. And so I used to do that all the same. And I realized, gosh, what is it? I don't want to, even though it did make me laugh, but I understood the process behind it, and I decided to not be that guy anymore. And it took me some time. And so I understand, but you don't mean it. Thank you. Thank you. Rahul Sharma. Can we consciously choose thoughts to feel better despite of being depressed? Yes, you can, but only to a certain extent. So it's for you to find out what sort of thoughts your emotional mind can accept. So if you're deeply depressed and you want to think, I'm amazing, I'm very happy, it's not going to happen, because there's too much gap between how you feel and the quality of your thought. And so think about an emotional ladder. Just find something that elevates you a little bit more. So I don't know, if you can share with me a very depressive thought, and we can choose a different thought, but it's going to take this a little bit higher, one notch higher. And that's what you do. You get started on that. Once you are comfortable in that zone, bang, another notch higher, and so forth and so on. Eventually, you'll be able to expand how you feel, to expand how you feel, and whilst keeping an alignment between how you feel and what you think. So you can choose thoughts to feel better, provided they're not too far away from your emotional state. Right. Now, some people, it depends again. Everyone is different. Depression is a spectrum, and so, yeah. Rahul, can we consciously choose thoughts to feel better despite? So I responded already. You asked me 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 8. I hope that I know that I'm a little bit late. I'm a little bit behind. I hope that you're still here when I answered your question, Rahul. Namit, I like this person. I would like to say that like this video, everyone. All right, thank you. This person thanks you, Namit. It's very kind of you. Rahul, again. Let's go down. A lot of copy and paste here. Inspired insomnia. I take a test to step my training up to the next level, so don't do this. I would suggest you not to do this. If you take drugs, if you take any little helpers like that, you can create problems. I used to be in the industry for many, many years, and I could see so many of my colleagues doing this, and it's never a good idea. It affects their personality, it affects their mood, but most of all, it affects their body in ways that are not natural. I wouldn't recommend this. You don't need this unless your doctor told you that you have some deficiency and it's not related to training, or unless you are transitioning because you're a trans person. I've trained for 10 years and was curious. My strength has hit a plateau, so I went for it. The spikes in estrogen have been the biggest downside. So instead of trying to break numbers for the sake of it, understand why your body is going through a plateau and try to find ways to maximize what you can do. Sometimes we are trying so hard to chase the numbers that we end up on an ego trip and we end up injuring ourselves. And I know this because I've been there myself. I didn't do the drugs because I have my own system. I've got bipolar. And so basically, when I train a lot, if I take a lot of caffeine, I can get into states where I have super strength and I don't stop training unless and until I'm broken. So I would train 3, 4, 5 hours every day, heavy weight. And I'll be able to lift a lot until my joints told me to F off, basically. And I had basically trained, for 10 years, I trained with injuries every day, everywhere. But it was normal, and I didn't care, because I wanted to be stronger, have bigger numbers. That was my only priority. I couldn't care about anything else. And because bipolar gets me into the state, then that allowed me to do that. But now I'm learning how to undo, for the last few years, and still now I'm still working on it, how to undo all of this and to train in a mindful way and do what I can do. I don't have to prove anyone anything. I don't need to hit numbers to be good enough. My numbers will always be big anyway compared to most people, but most importantly compared to what I can do. And that's the only thing that should matter. Since we are here to talk about mental health, ask yourself, why do you need to be so strong? Why is it so important to you? And so, as an experience, I understand it's cool, it's fun to find out how much you can do. But you don't want to make this your prison. You don't want this to become your obsession, because you will pay the price. You will enjoy yourself with that sort of mentality. And I know that because I've been there, and so many others have in my profession. Everyone that I know who trains seriously, we all get hijacked by our ego, and then we suffer from that, and we lose the fun, we lose the joy, we lose the health, we lose the positive things about the training. We just end up being a slave of trying to impress others, to be stronger, better, faster, or whatever more than others. And I've got some trophies here. When I trained before I was number 1, I loved my training. It was joyful. I was excited about it. The moment I became number 1, everything went down the drain because my ego took over. And all I wanted was to stay number 1, or at least top 3. It was so important to me, and show everyone that I was stronger than them. And from that point onward, I hated my training for 10 years. I hated every single day. I hated in the sense that I was going all the time, and I enjoyed the training, but I hated it for the fact that I was in pain constantly. I busted my shoulders, my back, my knees, my ankles, every single joint. I snapped some hamstrings, so many things happened, and I kept going. It didn't matter because I wanted to be stronger. Because I was no longer doing it for fun. I was doing it out of ego. And so, know one thing. If you train for numbers, you will always lose because there's always another number. Train in relation to what you can do the best at this point in time in your life. And train also with what your body can do. So if you say that you hit a plateau, maybe this is what your body can do. Maybe you're not meant to go anywhere further than that. Or maybe you may, but with a long time, with a lot of training, with a lot of periodization programs so that you can organize your adaptation to strength training over a period of time. And so you can do this by altering your program, essentially. But if you keep doing the same thing and you just take more testosterone or steroid or anything like that, you're not going to even train what your body can do. Now you are utilizing some extra stuff. And again, at some point, you will really, really, really suffer the consequences of them. But again, I also understand that we have to do what we have to do. So do what you have to do. And you will, I'm sure, find out that everything that I said was true at some point. I just want to give you a chance not to learn from your experiences, like I have done, basically. Rahul. Ah, you're back. Okay, let's go down. Inspired insomnia. Have you ever read The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene? What do you think about the morality of that book? I don't like Robert Greene. I think that a lot of things that he says is very old-fashioned, very patriarchal, very bitter, very old people's mentality. All about self-righteousness, virtue, right, wrong. Those are the things that I am against, like Jordan Peterson, all those people. And so I have no interest about whatever he says. Whatever he says for me is poison and toxic, and it actually makes things worse for men, for boys who are easily impressionable. He's using a tone of authority, of again, the patriarchal, wise old man who knows things, and it's just, to me, extremely toxic for people's happiness. It's not the way we look at it. I'm all about feminine energy, as in love, acceptance, compassion, understanding, nurturing, as opposed to judging, punishment. Some people are stupid, so I think he uses a lot of things like that. Don't be stupid, or don't be lazy, or sort of things. And it's just, don't be weak. And this is extremely toxic. So there may be out of this some things that he says that are okay, but there's too much negative, just like Jordan Peterson. But there's too much negative for me to give him a platform in my world. I understand that some people may find his stuff interesting and may even love his things, and so it's a big world, each to their own. But if you ask me whether or not this is going to be positive to people in the long term, I don't believe that it is, even in the short term. It may help some people who are very, very confused, who don't understand much about psychology, a starting point, as in they start to think about things, right? But the nature of what he says, and how he phrases things, to me, are extremely, typically toxic masculine, but also full of judgment, full of shame, guilt. And to me, this is the precise reason the whole world suffers from mental and emotional health problems. So I'm not a fan of his, I'm afraid. Inspired insomnia. You said bipolar allowed you to train bipolar harder. I'm unfamiliar with bipolar. Can you explain how it helps? Do you go manic when you train? Yes, it was a hypomanic state that used to get me to train harder. So bipolar, you can be either very, very depressed for a long period of times, or you can go into manic or hypomanic episodes where you are full of energy, full of ideas, full of juice, and you don't stop talking, you don't stop doing things, and you feel that you are the king of the world, a lot of grandiosity. And in my case, I didn't realize this after many years. But basically, I was able to lift more, to train more, whatever that I was doing, to do more. And then, as I came back home after that, once that state would shift, I would start to feel the pain and the injuries. I would have cramps every night, every single night for 10 years, because I would have trained so much, despite no matter what amount of electrolyte I would drink and water, because too much training. And so yes, it's a very unknown side effect of bipolar, or more like expression of bipolar, of hypomania. But it does, and I know that I'm not the only one. It can, in some individual, give them some extra strength, physical strength, for a prolonged amount of time. And so yeah, it's like me turning into the Incredible Hulk for a few hours every day. But the results were not positive because, again, 10 years of hating my training, hating my body because I was constantly in pain, also reinforcing my insecurities. I had to prove it and show everyone that I was strong, that I was tough, that I was hard, that I was able to do more than anyone else at the gym. And it's just silly. It's just silly. That was connected to my own insecurities because when I was younger, I've been bullied. So it's me wanting to be strong in order to be safe, becoming someone else than the person that was bullied all my childhood and teenagehood. Mac McCarthy, hello again. Hello, Mac. Wiggers, I gotta go, but big love to you. One more question, please. Okay. How can someone undo delusions to stop lying to yourself? It depends. What do you call a delusion? This is the thing. What do you define delusion? Delusion is a judgment. Maybe in some instance, delusion is not a delusion at all. What do you name? What do you call it? If you can give me an example. We will have different experience and interpretation of reality, and so when people are deluded, they have their reasons for that, and it's about understanding why they have that experience. If you want to connect with them, we don't want to say your experience is not valid because I don't like it. Instead, we want to understand. We want to be curious. What makes you say that? What makes you think that? And now we are connecting, and we can have a conversation and expand together through that conversation. So it depends. What do you mean by delusion? Can you give me an example, please? How do you stop lying to yourself? It's a tricky one because if someone has an interpretation of reality, it is their interpretation of reality. So for them, it is not a delusion. Delusion is always the judgment that comes from the outside, from outside people. They say you are deluded. But for someone, whatever you experience is your experience, and that's it. Mac McCarthy, skateboarding is my passion. I love it because you can do it all by yourself. Fantastic. Good on you. Good on you. Good on you. It's a very cool thing to do indeed. I could never, but good on you. Wiggers, skateboarding rocks indeed. McCarthy, baby steps, set baby steps every day. Don't overset your goals. I agree with that. Baby steps is a concept that I often talk about when it comes to healing and growth. Deborah Fellows Cornell, how can I help my paranoid schizophrenic son? You want to understand about his condition. You want to learn about what he's going through. And you want to realize that your son is different. So the number one thing when we have someone close to us that suffers from a condition like that, we want to realize that the way they function is totally different. And the reason is why it's so important is because until we fully understand and accept what they're going through, we will project our expectations of how someone should behave like, and we will react to situations in a way that is not productive and not helpful. So it's really about learning how to see things from their perspective, and then after you know what is going on, then proceed accordingly. See your son not like a stereotypical person or neurotypical person, and let drop any expectations that you would have of anyone else. Your son is different, so don't take personally whatever is going, and do your best to address your son in his moment of psychosis as someone who is having psychosis. So what you need to do specifically, I wouldn't know. I don't specialize in schizophrenia. I know of it, But I know that when it comes to having any condition at all, the biggest problem with people who live with someone who has a condition is to stop projecting their own expectations of how a normal person should behave like. Because now we are getting aggravated, or we're getting scared, or we're getting angry or sad, instead of understanding that that person is going through something, and that person is a different person than the person that was here before. That person is the condition, so how do I deal with that condition? If I would change your interactivity, the nature of your relationship with your son. Deborah, does this help at all? McCarthy, how do you feel about skateboarding? It helped me so much. I think everything is great. If it helps you, it's great. Everyone is different. So I'm happy for you that you found something that fulfills you. It helped me so much over the years because it's something only you can do, and it teaches me how to speak to myself in a positive manner, reinforcing positive act. Yes, it sounds great. So it's not about skateboarding. It's about the fact that you have found an outlet to your expression so that you can regulate your stress and be creative in your own way and elevate your energy. And so that's good, great. There's something for everyone, and it's about us finding out what is our thing. Or things, it doesn't have to be just one thing. Inspired insomnia. I have a coworker with autism and BPD. Sometimes he will talk my ears off, and then some days he will be incredibly rude. Yeah. I try and be sympathetic, but is it okay to tell him he's being rude some days? It's okay to do whatever. It depends. When we say, is it okay, we're thinking, is it okay in terms of societal norms? It's more about what can you do, how do you feel about yourself? Express yourself, be yourself. Do your best to be kind if you can. And if you can't, that's because you can't. So do still express yourself. Don't hold things inside of you. Otherwise you will suffer from it. But do your best to say it in a way that is as kind as possible. So diplomatic, right? So if you know that you have a coworker that if you have autism and borderline personality disorder, you know that the brain is different. When we react to someone, if you think that they're rude to you, it's because there's a part of you that is expecting everyone to behave in the same way. And if they don't behave like I behave, or like I believe people should behave in society, they're wrong, and I must react to that. So you can change this. You can think, that person has autism and BPD. They're not like me. They're not like other people. They are like they are. And I'm not looking to take, therefore, consideration of what they say. What they say doesn't have the same importance because it doesn't come from the same place. It's like, let's say, just 1 second, please. It's like, let's say you deal with someone who doesn't speak English, and that someone says something that is rude by accident. That person mispronounced something. I don't have an example, but they say something that sounds rude to you, but they don't mean it because they don't speak English. So people who have conditions, they are similar to that in many ways. This is how they express themselves, but they're not speaking the same language of you, and so you don't have to take it literally as you would people who are neurotypical. So my answer to you is, if you feel attacked, if you feel offended, you have to express yourself. So let that expression out. But if you can do it in a way that is considerate, that's better. And if you can disarm your reaction before it happens by reminding yourself, who are they? There's someone with autism and BPD. Then you're not going to get affected by it anymore because you understand that it's nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with them. It's how they function. They don't choose that, that's how they are. Autistic people very often come across as rude because they need to be precise, because they don't have the same way of communicating. And people with borderline personality disorder, and again, I'm one of them, so we take things personally very, very easily. We have a very fragile ego, we overreact, And it's not our fault, we don't choose this. But if it happens, think about someone who... Okay, so here's my tip. See that person as someone who has some mental conditions, which is the truth. And that will help you have more empathy, patience, and compassion with them. That's my advice to everyone. Consider that everyone is possibly on the spectrum of something. If we can do this now, we are extra empathic or empathetic. And it's easier for us to be kind to people. We only get annoyed because we assume that everyone do things like we do. They say that because if I said that, it means that. So if they said that to me, it means that they thought about this just like I do. We are just projecting our reality onto them. And we are expecting people to behave the way we do. Otherwise they are wrong, they are bad, and we must react to it. So it's something that you can work on, but you don't have to. Ultimately, we all are in charge of ourselves, and they have to go through their own journey, and you have to go through yours. But if you want to be extra good, extra kind, if you want to develop your self-awareness, your understanding of the world and yourself in this world, appreciate that we're all different, and more often than not, if not every single time, whatever people do to you or say to you have nothing to do with you. It's always a projection of themselves, so you don't need to react to them. But if you know that that person has BPD and autism, it's even easier. Whenever you see them, create a different visual, a reminder that they have a condition and it's okay. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be extra kind. I'm going to be extra patient. It's like if you were dealing with a child that has some trauma and some mental conditions, you'd be patient. You'll be extra empathetic, right? Because you understand that the child has problems. Then see people like that. There are children who have not yet healed emotionally from what happened to them, or maybe their brain developed in different ways because of what happened to them, because of their genetics, because of XYZ. It's not their fault, but this is who they are, and so I cannot expect them to behave in ways that I can, because we're not the same. And I can be extra patient, extra kind, extra empathic. I hope it makes sense. Inspired Insomnia. Thank you for this live, Didi. I will be back next Saturday. You are the man. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Inspired Insomnia. He does take the slightest things in the worst way. It's like walking on eggshells constantly. He's very judgmental, but doesn't want to be judged. I think if the person has got borderline personality disorder, it's better to create a space between you and them. It's easier. And also, yeah, create a space between you and them and understand that it is indeed eggshells and minefield. It is, absolutely. And it is for them to work on themselves. They have to. But you cannot change them. It's not your responsibility. What you can do is to minimize the frictions and the problems. Wiggers, what I meant by delusions was like Plato's cave. I feel like I'm being lied to and afterwards lying to myself. The allegory of the cave from Plato is not a delusion. It's not a delusion at all. What Plato was trying to say is that the reality that we experience is only something that is close to it, but will never be it. It's not a delusion because there's not, because we never get to the reality. We can only ever get an interpretation of it. So it's not a lie. It's just realizing that there's not such a thing as one reality. There's only our interpretation of it. No one is lying to you. I mean, no, it's not true. A lot of people are lying to you. Schools, churches, government, television, media, newspapers, everyone is lying. Everyone who wants to sell you something, they're all lying. What I'm trying to say is that in regards to reality, there's no lie there. It's just, if anything, our belief system are distorting, influencing, and shaping our reality. But it's not a lie. It is our interpretation of it, based on the filters that we have. So we can upgrade those filters to create a better reality for us. I hope it makes sense, Wiggers. Is that what you meant, or did I miss something? Wiggers, you are a great guy. Thank you so much. Inspired insomnia. Does autism or BPD stop you feeling empathy or sympathy towards others? Yes and no. It does affect people's level of empathy, absolutely. Now, autistic people, it's a spectrum, so everyone is different, but it's true that they come across as they have no empathy, and it's true that there's a lot of things about them. They have a very selective empathy, like we all do, but more than neurotypical people. And so they can experience empathy in their own way, in their own context, but they will indeed not have empathy for a lot of other things that a lot of people have, because they're kind of impermeable to society's rules and laws. And so they have a different function system that they operate with. And so, yes, and borderline personality disorder also, it's not that they don't have empathy. We have empathy, but the way we experience it is different. So with borderline personality disorder, in fact, we have extreme empathy to some people, to some cases, to some situations. We can really connect emotionally very strongly. But also because we are on a constant obsession of the fear of abandonment, that we will be often on a situation of defensiveness. And so when we're in a state of defensiveness, protection, then we cannot show empathy because we're protecting. Just 1 second, please. There's a lot of noise outside, it's taking my mind away. Tuk tuk, playing ABBA. Living in central London. Okay, it's gone. So, when it comes to, so it's slightly different, autistic people and BPD. But it's not that people don't have empathy. It's the way they express their empathy is different. It's the way the empathy is directed at things is different. It's the people that they have empathy for is also different. So typically autistic people, we have a lot of empathy for animals, or for people who are mistreated unfairly, for instance, but maybe not for others because their brain doesn't function like that. They have empathy, but it's selective. And for BPD people, we also have a lot of empathy for certain things, like extreme, too much, but also non-extreme, for the other extreme, because we split. We function in black and white. So it's either some causes that we love and adore, or people that we detest and we must destroy. So it's that creates confusion for people from the outside as far as empathy is concerned. When we're on a state of survival, it's about survival. It's about no longer suffering. And so there's no empathy in those moments. We just need to survive. Depends on our state. It depends on the cases, on the people, on the individual. I believe that there's only one kind of people who don't have empathy, and that's sociopath. I believe that everyone experiences empathy. It's just how we have the empathy. Some people hate people, but even people who hate people, they will love animals. The only people that I know at this point in time who have no empathy are sociopaths. And it is the way the brain is designed, and it's very dangerous in many cases. And so yes, empathy and sympathy is different. Empathy is the ability to feel things from someone's perspective. Sympathy, I think, takes it to the next level. We connect with them. It's not just the understanding, it's the feeling related to that perspective, to that person. Inspired insomnia. Do you think there are many benefits to being on the spectrum when someone is feeling manic? Is it a good feeling? Do they enjoy it? It is enjoyable. So it depends on the situation, but more often than not, in my experience, when I was manic, I enjoyed it. You are like a superhero. It's like you're taking some drugs and you're high and you are superhero. You're unstoppable. So it's a great feeling. Now the problem is that those situations create problems. So I can be manic and create a lot of problems with my relationships, at work, at home, or with my body, at the gym, as explained with my case. And so the problem is what the mania get us to do. But also I want to say, when you say BPD, it's not bipolar. I'm realizing we're talking about two different things. Bipolar and borderline personality disorder are two different things. Bipolar is a mood disorder. Borderline is a personality disorder. So I have both. It is possible to have both. But basically, bipolar is going to change your physical state, and it's prolonged, and it's obvious. Borderline is more about changing your perception of things from a cognitive level. So you feel things, but you're going to think. There's a cognitive aspect to that. You're going to think, that person did that because they don't care about me, and so I must hate them. Bipolar, I'm just in that state. And then the thought come after. Yeah, it's not the same thing. Bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder are very different. There are overlaps, and they can be comorbidities, as in with me, but they are not the same thing. Lily Lebowski, any practical ADHD procrastination freeze zone tips? Okay. So my first advice that I would say with people with ADHD is to accept your limitations and don't force yourself to function in a way that you're not designed to function. And so when we have ADHD, we find it very difficult to focus on the things that we don't have interest about. But if we have interest about something, we get obsessed, we hyper-focus. And so my advice is more to address your lifestyle and your environment than you trying to fit in a society that was never designed for you. We live in a neurotypical society. If you are neurodivergent, don't try to pretend to be neurotypical. Find your tribe, find your people. There are a lot of organizations, companies, people, groups that understand neurodivergent and also are neurodivergent, and so they will create systems for you, designed for you. But also, what you can do is to focus on creating a life that you enjoy. Because if you can find something that you enjoy, you never need motivation, you never need procrastination, you never need to freeze. You'll be doing it all the time. Like me, I have ADHD, and I'm obsessed with anything to do with the mind and spirituality and psychology. And I do it 24/7, and I love it. I never procrastinate, I never freeze, because I love it. It's my thing. It excites me, it stimulates me. And so that would be my advice, really. Now, I understand that sometimes we need to do certain things. So there are hacks. But those hacks are quite specific. And so if you want to give me one specific example, I may have some hacks that you can use. Now, whether they work or not depends on many things, but you can try them. But for me, it's more important to address the bigger picture instead of trying to be someone that we're not. I think it's a better point of focus to create an environment and a lifestyle that supports our condition. I hope it makes sense. Procrastination has been demonized, and it's not a bad thing. Procrastination is a system that is protecting you from an overwhelm. And so instead of trying to break through the protection mechanism, address the overwhelm. So first, let me give you one tip then. One thing that you can do, and it may not work, but it's something that is very important, and over time will make a difference. Find many ways to address your stress level and minimize it. So you want to first minimize the stress that exists already within you as you wake up or throughout your day, but also minimize your exposure from external stress. Because whenever you stress out, any traits of ADHD will flare up and really, really be obvious and take over everything. Stress is the one thing that feeds all those aspects of ADHD that are problematic. If you can find ways to minimize stress from the outside in and from the inside out, do some somatic exercises, do some yoga, do some therapy, do some meditation, that sort of things, dance, go to the gym. External stress, minimize your exposure to people who are stressing you out, to society that is noisy, that is unkind, that is chaotic. Then, and also address your sleep, address your eating habits, address your body as a part of a whole holistic health strategy, then you will minimize stress and you will be less prone to the procrastination, to the freeze, to the inability to get moving and started with the things what you want to do. So it's not going to work just like that. It's a long project. It's about awareness that if you can minimize stress, that will make a huge difference in your day-to-day functioning habit if you have ADHD. Now, there will still be tons of factors that will trigger your inability to focus or your hypersensitivity. But when we procrastinate, there's a lot of different ways we can explain this, but one of the ways we can see it is like you want to do something, but your mind doesn't feel safe. So it's constantly seeking some emotional safety. And because of that, you can't do this. So again, how do we deal with that? By doing what I just said. Change your life, essentially. Do things that you enjoy doing and minimize stress. And that will get you going and you will never need to worry about freezing or procrastination. Does it help? Lily, often staying up at night, no matter the day. I can have a great day, fulfilling, fun, calm, or just non-productive. Everyone falls asleep, and then I'm just awake hours. Last night, awake all night. Yes. This is frequent with ADHD, indeed. Morning, so I'm suffering. No reason for staying awake. This happens every now and then. So there's a lot of reasons as to why it may happen. It's a big conversation. And I totally understand it. Another is paperwork. I have to leave it so late. I'm close to being fined and may cry, etc., yet it often happens. Are you doing something about your ADHD? I would suggest you to learn more about it, if not, because I feel that you're overwhelmed. So it's telling me that you may need to learn more about yourself and really learn how to know your limitations at this point in time and minimize stress as much as you can. Sleeping is often something that happens with ADHD because we are easily distracted. But at night, it's quieter. So we tend to create some associations with nighttime being safer, nicer. I can think at night, I can concentrate, I can be myself. And also, because I can do this, I can catch up with all the moments of the day when I couldn't do that. So I want to use time, I want to enjoy the night. I don't want to waste that opportunity to think, to be myself, to enjoy myself. So there's a lot of different processes. But the more you understand yourself and how ADHD is expressed in your case, the more you can take actions to deal with that. If I gave you any hack, until and unless you understand yourself, it will be not only a waste of time, but a waste of hope. Because you may try those things, but if you're not ready to do those things, you're going to think, oh, it doesn't work, nothing works. So we don't want to do this. There's a book that I can recommend you if you haven't read it already. It's a book from Gabor Mate, and it's called Scattered Mind. I think it's called Scattered Mind. Let me see. Scattered Minds from Gabor Mate. It's about ADHD, and it's a very, 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 very insightful and helpful book. So I would highly suggest you to read it or to listen to it, audiobook, like I do. Audiobooks are much easier than reading for me and for many people with ADHD. Lily Lebowski. Yes, my mobile is a primary cause for distractions. Okay. By the way, absolutely appreciate you. Thank you very much. Acknowledging my comments. Understand, observe self, and be more present to observe. Okay, fantastic. Hope is amazing. Yes. Yes, I've heard of it. Okay, so read it. Read it. That will really, really make a difference in your understanding of self and your quality of life subsequently. I'm happy to give some advice when I know people better and if I have some precise problems. But before we get there, it's always so important to understand who we are and what are our limitations at this point in time. Again, so not to waste hope. Okay, so I think I've been here for 2 hours already. Wow. I'm happy with myself. I didn't know it would be busy enough today to last that long, so I'm quite happy. Let me see. I'm just checking that I'm on YouTube. Yes, I am. I can see myself. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions? Anything you'd like to ask before I say goodbye? Just so you know, guys, I come here regularly. I'll be here next Saturday, but I also do lives on TikTok, weekdays. Lily, always felt struggle to implement any habit, even 1 minute a day. So yes, it makes so much time. Okay. Again, I need you to be specific about things if you want me to help you out, because I don't know how to address that comment. Where struggles to implement any habit? You know what? Choose your habit. Some habits. Tell me what habits are they, and we can talk about it. But to be honest with you, I think it's about time for me to go. So maybe we can carry that conversation the next time. If you can come back and remind me of it, and we can continue. Inspired insomnia, my social path question. Did you see it? No, I didn't. Let me go back. I read every question, so no, it's not there. It's not there, I'm afraid. Lily, sorry, I meant I've tried to implement new habits in life since a teen. Okay. So yes, so basically you've been trying to be normal. You've been trying to fit in. You've been trying to please your parents, your teachers, society, not realizing that you are different. So the more we do this, the more we are telling ourselves that we are wrong. There's something wrong, broken inside of us. We're not enough. We're inferior. And the more we do this, the more we create shame, anxiety, depression, self-hatred. And those are the real problems of ADHD. The ADHD per se is not a problem. It's just that our brain functions differently. There's a lot of good things about an ADHD brain. The problem is how we feel about ourselves, because society has made us believe that we were bad, lazy, or stupid. And it's not like that. Lily, thanks for everything. Smiley face, inspired insomnia. Okay, next live I will ask. Thank you. Time for you to take a break. Goodbye, Lily. Thank you, guys. So thank you so much. Love you all. It's time for me to go. 2 hours is enough, I think. And I do have other things to do today as well. So, guys, it was a pleasure. Just so you know, I go live both on TikTok and YouTube. YouTube, I come on Saturdays at this point in time. So TikTok, it depends on my schedule, whenever I can, if I can, lunchtime or evening or throughout the day, whenever. But on YouTube, it's always on Saturdays at this point in time. And with YouTube, I leave the videos behind to be replayed. And so what's the difference? On TikTok, once I'm gone, the live is gone. On YouTube, if you ask me anything, you can always replay the video. You can find them on my profile in the live section, and it's all there. And so if you found this interesting, come back next. If you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would highly appreciate this. If you use TikTok, follow me there as well. You can join my lives there. And I will keep on creating more short contents every day, as I've been doing for a while now. But also, at some point, maybe in September, I will start to resume my production of long-form content on YouTube. So it's going to take some organization, but it's planned. So something to look up to, hopefully. Ignore all the old long ones. All my old long-form content are very old now, very cringy. I've got better things coming up now. And so just bear with me. In the meantime, if you know anyone who could benefit from my help, get them to follow me, to look at my content, and to come and attend my lives. And finally, if you need any help from me, if you need any more details about me as a therapist and coach, there's a link to my website on my bio. Just click on it and you can organize a free discovery Zoom call with me to find out whether or not we can work together. Okay? Guys, I love you all. Thank you for being here today. And I wish you a great day, a great night, wherever you are. And also, remember, so that's my closing line. Remember to be kind to others if you can. But if you can't, at least be kind to yourself. Okay? Thank you. Lily, have a great day. I don't have a schedule on weekends, so it depends on the kids. All right. Guys, bye-bye.